Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special show for you today. I have a wonderful guest. In fact, this is the first parent guest of what I hope will be many I get to talk to on the podcast. Paige and her family is located in sunny California, and Paige is the parent of a young man named Aiden. Welcome, Paige. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to join us here today at Just Seven Steps. Can you tell me a little bit more about your son, Aiden? How old is he? Does he have a diagnosis or other challenges that you'd be comfortable mentioning? And tell me a little bit about what started your journey with Aiden that ultimately led you to taking my parent course on the 7 steps.
Yeah, well, I'm really excited to be here and to be able to share everything with you guys. My son is he's just turned 15, and he does have a diagnosis of autism, intellectual disability, and he is considered nonverbal, or he's got language speech delay. He has ADHD and recently a diagnosis of oppositional defiance disorder, as well as OCD as well. Okay. So that's just a little bit of background on my son. He's extremely receptive. So his receptive communication is very high. Expressive, it seems like it's difficult for him to say things as quickly.
So sending information out is not his strong point, but he's really good at understanding what's going on around him and what you're asking.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cool. And so we've definitely had ABA services, ABA therapy throughout the years. In California specifically, insurance did not really cover it until probably around, I think, between 2014 and 2016, there was a big lawsuit, and then the insurance companies were like, okay, we'll cover it and we'll have providers and stuff. So that's, when we came back to California, we were from California, moved to Texas for a few years just for other services, different kinds of schools, and then we came back. So
to make sure that the audience understands, we've never personally worked together in any fashion. In fact, I think this is the first time we've ever met or talked, but still you were introduced to the 7 steps. How did that happen?
Okay. So I had been working with an ABA company for, I want to say, at least maybe like 6 or 8 months. And there wasn't really much improvement. The person the BCBA that was on the case wasn't really that great with my son. She had more of an authoritative, demeanor, way she liked to communicate. She likes to communicate like a stern mom. And I'm not, just by nature, I'm not a real disciplinarian with voice or tone or anything like that. And we got a new registered behavioral therapist, and her name's Tina. And her style, her communication, everything was just completely different. And my son really, really liked her. And I could just see just a complete shift. And I've worked with different registered behavioral therapists in the past. But she just was she just had conversations with him. And even though he wouldn't always reply, she just continuously talked to him and age appropriate everything, just about everything and anything. So he really liked her. And like I said, the main approach, she communicated a lot. I just tried to soak up everything I could learn from her.
So, and Tina, had she had familiarity then with the 7 steps? Is that kind of how the connection?
I was just asking her tons of questions. I was trying to soak up absolutely anything I could get from her. And she told me, she said, there's this course, and, and I really think it would help you. She said, I think it would help you a lot. And I immediately took the course because I was like, she's just really, really good at her job, but not just that. But I think the biggest thing that I saw from her is everybody has their style and their experience and their background. So everybody's different when they get into the field, but she really individualized it to the child, to my son.
Mhm.
And really, she was super receptive on just little details and little things that it completely changed everything. And, the reinforcers and, he would have days where he would have slightly like a hard, difficult time. But honestly, she ended up eventually telling me he was like the easiest person on her caseload. And it didn't start off that way,
Yeah. So what kind of, I guess you started to talk about it a little bit, but what kind of changes did the approach make for you and your son? What were the main differences in the way you guys were interacting and in what you saw the way that he was interacting with his therapists or helpers?
With me specifically, I definitely think it really helped improve the relationship between the two of us, because I had some light bulb moments when I was taking the course, and I'm like, there's just certain things, with parenting, they don't come with instructions. And sometimes we lose focus of not just little things, but things that you don't stop and think about that are really important. Being consistent with acknowledging their feelings, with doing what you say and saying what you do. So like for him and I realized a big issue was the lack of trust. If I told him we were going to go to the store, or if I told him we were going to go do something specifically and I didn't do it, obviously that's chipping away at our relationship. He's like, I don't want to listen to her because she's not going to follow through.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that makes a big difference. And I can imagine that that's even more important with a child who has, a number of different labels working with them as well. So just a
yeah.
typical parent has that same issue, but it often isn't quite as important as it may be for someone who's working with someone like Aiden. So you did take the course online, correct?
Yeah, I took it actually twice.
Oh,
I took it
really?
twice. Because I just wanted to make sure like I was soaking everything in, um
And was the course easy to understand and follow? And did it
yeah,
help you to know how you could be more involved in your child's supports and education?
definitely. Definitely. I think a big part of it is just paying attention to the little things that you already have that are working in your favor, and utilizing those things, um, just to better connect with your child. And I mean, that's something I picked up from it that I felt was just invaluable.
Right. Did you find that because you took the courses that you were able to be more involved and in the back and forth with him, and that it helped
Yes,
you outside of your therapy sessions?
definitely, definitely. And like I said, definitely with the tools of just the being consistent, being very in tune with. It's not just about the motivators, but I also felt like acknowledgement of their feelings and just different things. Because with my son specifically, I know everybody's different, but his expressive communication, like I said, that's such a big issue for him, to not be able to say things when he's frustrated, when he's angry, or when things aren't fair. So just I really honed in on that, and to try to elaborate on that and try to just acknowledge his feelings on things that I might not even have thought about prior to that.
Mm.
And it helps alleviate situations kind of sometimes even before they get really big.
I think one of the goals of the parenting course is that it helps you to get some clarity as to what you can be doing day to day to be a part of things. But it's also designed to give you some confidence that you really can be a part of that change and that you don't necessarily need to rely solely on outside supports. And that if you're not getting any outside supports, it's crucial that you
Oh,
really do
absolutely.
have an understanding of what it is that you can be doing, in order to be able uh, to make a difference on your own.
Okay.
Do you think that anyone would benefit from the 7 steps, whether supporting a child with a labeled disorder or just parents of the typical child who's dealing with challenges?
I definitely think it's extremely helpful. I mean, I my son was having a lot of issues, and um, part of it was with authority, but part of it was just communication style. He just wasn't receptive to certain people, but it helped me so much with better tuning in and understanding my child specifically. So I felt like that was, and not just that, but also utilizing things that were already accessible to myself to help me to build upon that relationship, but also to help attain goals with him, you know what I mean? And teach him different things.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's helpful for typical kids and kids with disabilities as well.
But one of the things that I'm talking about in there is just this idea that you already have all the tools you need. Everything you need to do well with your child is there in the home with you. And it's just a matter of understanding their value and how to use them. And it's pretty exciting to see it, to meet someone who's been able to kind of take the course and then benefit from it without ever having to work directly one-to-one. So that's great.
Yeah. I saw a lot of value in it. And honestly, I've definitely recommended it to people. I'm in a bunch of different groups, people in states where they're like, I can't get ABA for years, or I can't get this, or I can't get that. And I'm like, well, look into this.
Well, I appreciate that. That's great news. And for those of you who are enjoying our talk today and enjoying this podcast, make sure that you like us and that you subscribe. And then I think there's a little bell thing there in the bottom too, you're supposed to hit for messages, but all of that helps us to be able to continue to give good content and make things available for you. So please make sure you take a second and do that before you move on. So I guess one of the things I was most impressed about by you, and one of the reasons that I really wanted to get you out here as a guest today, was the fact that you had some interactions with your school district related to the 7 steps. I know the IEP process can be complicated, to say the least. And when you have a child with learning or behavior challenges, it can sometimes be really hard just to get your local school district to see your child and really learn how to work with them the right way. So what was it that you had written into your IEP related to the 7 steps to instructional motivation?
He was transitioning into high school from middle school, and he was having more, I'd say, like OCD related issues. And the teacher was not following the IEP. So I had to kind of advocate and learn how to advocate and have some, get some people to help with me with the whole process. But through everything, I really, I had them write it in there that any current and future staff that would be working with him or in the class around him would take the course, because I really feel like building that relationship, just realizing that every kid is different, and just building that trust and kind of getting to know them. It helps so much with getting any kind of cooperation and compliance in the class and behaviors, and everybody's happy. But I feel like I think my son specifically has maybe a little bit of trust issues when it comes to people in authority, especially when I'm not there to help him communicate and to help him with that. I think he struggles with that. So I really felt it was important that they know what motivators and how to just, I think that relationship is really, really important. And it would not only help them with my son, but with any other kids that they ever work with in the future.
Well, that's the added benefit, right? Once you train someone, they can take that training and they can use it, across the board. So at some point, I'd like to add a sequence of courses directly for school teachers, both for kids with disabilities, but also for typical school teachers who can use this information in their classrooms. It really is something that we need to get out to a wider audience.
I think that's definitely something that could be required if the parents pushed on it, because I didn't know until this year that paraeducators, the assistants in the class that work with the teachers, don't need any special education. They just need a high school diploma. They don't have any background in special education, or they don't have any knowledge of sensory issues or any kind of other things that kids might be sensitive to. And
Yeah, I
so
would
they're,
love to see the 7 steps as a basic training for all paraprofessionals and one-to-one supports that are happening in school. I mean, what better way to give them an all-inclusive idea of what their goals are and what they're trying to do? So um, the reason they don't do it, I believe, is because, traditional strict ABA approaches, um, are pretty formulated and complex and challenging for individuals who don't have the full education. And that's one of the things I try to do with the 7 steps, is just break all of that mess down, chop away all the trees that aren't important and just give you the 7 most important principles and things to remember and do when you're working with your kid.
Yeah. So that was something I definitely I pushed for and I got for him. So
Really amazing.
I think that, like I said, I think that relationship building is huge. That you know, I think that it helps everything go smoothly. Each kid is individual, and if they don't know you, they're less likely to want to do stuff for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it allows you to know them better as well. And it really does. When you focus your energy on what your child really enjoys and what they like, and you spend some time trying to figure out how to enjoy that with them and make it even more fun when you're a part of it, you can't help but have a better relationship. And then everything else in the 7 steps will guide you towards being able to give those instructions, those important instructions that you need to give under conditions in which they're more likely to be followed. And then we've got a troubleshooting, step at the end, step 7, that helps when things don't go the way you'd planned and you're not getting the responses that you had thought you had set yourself up to get. So, yeah, thank you so much. I'm really happy that the 7 steps have had such a positive impact on your family. How long ago was it that you took the course the second time?
So the first time I took it in March of last year, and the second time, I believe, was in April of this year.
Okay, so April of this year. So oh wow. So how long after you take the course did you start to see the benefits of the course?
Oh, right away. Right away.
Even though there was a little work put into that up front, would you say that it ultimately paid off?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We have such a better relationship, and he's starting to communicate more and more. And even if it's difficult to understand him, I will, wherever I'm at, I will go right up to him and just really watch his mouth and really until I figure out what he's trying to say or ask for. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, one of the most impressive things I've seen in my years of behavior analysis and education is the tenacity and undying effort that parents have to help their child meet with a quality education. And I'm often dismayed at how hard that challenge can be for them. So seriously, kudos to you for all the work you're doing and have done to help your son. I truly do hope that this next school year for Aiden is the best. If there's anything that we can do for you here at Just 7 Steps, don't hesitate to let us know.
I appreciate you. And the course, like I said, I really got so much out of the course. And I hope you make more courses, because I will take them.
Cool. Yeah, we'll be doing that. We'll be doing more of it. And hopefully we'll be seeing your school teachers joining us for some courses soon as well.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Paige from California, just one of America's amazing parents out there fighting the fight and pushing for better education opportunities for all kids.